ॐ स्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतारवरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनम् देवकी परमानन्दम् कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। So we were in the 9th chapter of Shrimad Bhagavad Gita, and in the last class we were just studying the verses from the 11th to the 14th verse, and today we will, as a continuation, we will find that Bhagavan is indicating that there are varied modes of worship. There are varied modes of worship, and all of them do lead, they're the ways to transcend this limitations of the psychophysical existence and to lead, and that leads to a spiritual goal. Now there's a confusion when we study that Sri Ramakrishna's message that Joto Mot Tato Pot, that as many ways, so many paths. And we will find that there is sometimes a lot of criticism going on this, that contradictions. Many will contradict this words of Sri Ramakrishna by saying that how come all the paths lead to the same goal? That we find the dualists believe in a religion where they never think of becoming one with the ultimate reality. They always think that they are, the divine is, and there's an eternal relationship between them. An Advaitist, the Jnani, he thinks he is one with the Absolute. The Vishishtadvaiti, he will think that he is a part of that reality. He is not one with it. He is not totally separate from it. Just like a tree is a single entity, but it has various parts. It has the leaves, it has the branches, it has the fruits. So we are the various parts of that one divine. So we are not in a way identical. So these are the various opinions we find, and accordingly the spiritual journey leads us to a goal where we realize that the one who believes in that identity realizes that identity. One who believes in the duality realizes that duality. So how can they all lead to the same goal? But it is a wrong translation that all the paths lead to the same goal. Joto mot toto path doesn't mean that. As many ways, so many paths. Sri Ramakrishna is not speaking of the goal. They're the various paths where it leads. Yes, it leads to the various goals. Then is not the spiritual truth the same? It is the same. But from the perspective with which I am looking at, it is taking me to the same goal. It is letting me to a goal as per my belief, as per my ideal. Then where does the what do you say this the agreement lies? Agreement, all the paths will be agreeing one thing. What's that? Not one thing. There are so many aspects that they will agree. That do you believe that through your path you are going to attain a state where there won't be any suffering, which will help you to get ineffable joy, happiness, bliss? All will say yes. The one who is believing the duality, he also will believe that. In spite of the fact they are leading to a different goal. But this common thing is This all believe in Atyantika Dukkha Nivritti Parama Sukha Prapti. That's one thing. The other thing, that it will lead me to certain type of bliss where all the worldly sensate pleasures become something insignificant. They fall off. Will all they agree? Yes, they all will agree. That it will lead to a certain goal where I will find my ego is obliterated. That the ego, the strong bound of the ego which we find in our day-to-day life, that will be obliterated. Some may say that it will be totally gone. You will become one with the divine. Some will say that I don't become one, but I feel that it is the divine who is working through me. So my ego is an hallucination. It is the divine who is working through me, a devotee will say. So there also, you will find that the language is different, but they both are speaking of the annihilation of the ego. So that's the very interesting thing, that it helps us to transcend the limitations of all the so-called worldly existence. So whether it is duality, whether it is Advaita, whether it is Vishishtadvaita, so that way they help us to transcend all the limitations of this worldly existence. The goals may be different, as many ways, as many paths, but all the path, where it is leading, it's leading to the goals as per my belief, but it is taking me away. It is helping me to transcend this worldly existence, and that way they all are equally valid. As per my temperament, as per my choice, I can choose any of them, and it will help me to transcend this bondage of this worldly existence. All the things which I find binds me, I can transcend that. And as a recognition to this fact, this 15th verse, what Bhagavan is saying, Jnana yagyena chapyanye cha apiyanye chapyanye jnana yagyena chapyanye yajanto mam upasate etakttvena prithaktvena vahuda vishvato mukham. So here you will find all the paths, all the various paths is acknowledged by Bhagavan Sri Krishna. What he's saying, that others again offer the oblation of knowledge and worship me. Jnana yagyena chapyanye yajanto mam upasate. Now, very interesting. Here we'll find the next line, ekatvena prithaktvena vahudha vishvato mukham. That some will be worshipping me as separate from themselves. That the jiva is apart from Brahma or the Ishvara, is apart, is not one. That is prithaktvena, ekatvena. Some says that jiva is one with the absolute reality. Ekatvena, prithaktvena. This prithak also can be various. Some may say it is total, pure dualistic. I am, the Lord is totally apart. And some may say, I am a part, I am not apart, I am a part of Ishvara, Vishishtadvaita. So these all are accepted. Ekatvena, prithaktvena, bahudha, vishvato mukham. And some may be worshipping me by recognizing the fact it is the divine who is projecting itself as a varied forms, the manifold forms, as I see in this universe, in this existence. All the varied forms are the manifestations of the divine. And this Vishvato Mukha, that through this Virata, through this world, in this as a, what you say, this that will come in the 11th chapter, the Vishwarupa, that he is existing this universal form. So some worship him in that form. That is, through all his activities, he is offering his worship. So these all are accepted. They all lead to that spiritual enlightenment that helps us to transcend all the worldly bonds of existence. So this idea we find in our scriptures again and again, this wonderful Catholicity, that as per your temperament, as per your this mode of worship, so your goals may be different, but they are all taking you to the divine. The way you see the divine, it is taking you there and is helping you to transcend all the so-called limitations of the worldly existence. So we find this idea in one of this famous quotation of Hanuman. When Sri Ramachandra asks him that what's your attitude towards me? That how do you see me? And that wonderful verse where we find all the various vadas, the various philosophies. There's a wonderful synthesis there. What Hanuman is saying there? Deha vidya dasoham. As long as having the idea that I am this psychophysical existence, I am this body, I am your servant. You're the Lord, I am your servant. Deha vidya dasoham. Jiva vidya tavangshaka. When I consider myself as a jiva, then I relate to you as you are the whole, I am the part. We'll come to the understanding what jiva means. And then Deha buddhya dasoham jiva buddhya tavangshaka atma buddhya. When one with the self, tvameva aham, tvam eva aham, means you and I are same. Iti me nishchita mati. This is this firm conviction. Nishchita mati. So this is wonderful that it speaks of the paradigm from which you are looking at the absolute reality. Deha buddhya. As long as you feel you are the body and whatever your senses are showing you, that's the reality. My eyes shows this world to me. It must be real. It's a tangible reality there outside. So when I take the credentialities of the senses to be true, it leads to a duality. You are, I am. Jiva buddhya. What is jiva? That we all, in all this Oriental religion, the idea of reincarnation is there. That this body is not the me. The real me is something which transmigrates. So what is that? That's the mind stuff, the chitta, the shukshma sharira. It constitutes mainly of the mind stuff. So all the impressions of my mind, with that, I transmigrate. At the time of the death, I leave this body. And the scripture says it's just like the movement of a leech. You know the leech, how it moves? First, when you will find it's moving with both the ends of the leech's body attached to the ground. When it lifts this upper portion of his body, so this lower portion is still attached to the ground. So it will extend, and the upper portion of his body will get firmly attached to the ground, and then only it will move the hind part of the body, and it will come and it will just be retraced back and will come near the upper portion of his body. So it always makes that first it will get hold of the ground, the upper portion of the body will first get hold of the ground, and then only it will lift the hind part. So our scriptures say that like that, this jaloka, like the leech, that when we depart with our shukshma sharira, we get hold of another body, and then from this body we move out. So whatever it is, the idea is of transmigration, and what transmigrates? It is the Sukshma Sharira. There are many doubts. Many will be saying that, have anyone seen that something coming out of the body? So it's not really something coming out. So these are the uh, limitations of our idea, that we can give an example with which you can understand that what actually transmigration is. It's not something that mind is non-local. The body is local. It is in one place. So there's a question of movement comes when there is something is local. This body is now situated here. I can move to another place. But if anything is non-local, there's no question of movement. There's no question of movement. Just say the TV transmission. When that TV something is transmitted, or the internet, all the things which I am downloading in my computer, or I am seeing some video in the YouTube. Where is it? It is everywhere. Anyone in the world can access it, isn't it? Anyone. It is non-local, it is everywhere. You get tuned to it and automatically it comes. So what's the transmigration like? Just say an example. Suppose you were watching a TV and suddenly the hard disk of your TV, nowadays everything is digitalized. So previously it was a picture tube, now it's all the hard disk. Most probably that collapses. And suddenly you find that the picture has vanished. What the video was saying is no more there. So you buy a new TV, and then what happens? You just go to the same channel and the same picture comes back. If you ask a small child from where the picture is coming, even you will find there are so many funny videos. That some video is going on in the TV, and the child slowly goes behind the TV to see that who is there displaying all the things. Because for them, for the children, that all those characters which he sees in the TV must be on the back of the TV. That's why he's seeing that. So it takes time for them to understand that it is not there. It is non-local. It's everywhere. Similarly, our mind is non-local. It's not here in the brain. It's non-local. Brain is just like the receptor. It's just receiving. So when your body falls off, the mind is there, non-local. It just, as per your samskaras, when another body gets tuned to it, the mind gets immediately enlivened there. Just when the channel which I am seeing, the same channel I have to tune. The new TV I buy, I just tune to that same channel. And whatever pictures were coming, it comes, isn't it? So similarly, the body-mind, the new body-mind, as per our samskaras, when it gets tuned to that, the mind immediately finds reflection through that. So there's no question of actually something coming out and entering. It is something non-local. So this mind is the jiva. So very interesting. It is when Hanuman is saying, Jiva buddhya tavang shaka. I'm just a part of you. What it speaks of? That actually there is only one mind. As per our tendencies, we are downloading from that one mind to create my own mind. Even this, with the help of this internet, you will understand that all the information is there. As a transmission, it is there. As per my liking, as per my subject, as per my interest, I download some of the information, not the entire thing. Suppose I am an engineering student, or you are a medical student, or you may be studying this economics or some finance. So as per your subject, as per your interest, everything, all the information is available. There is no division there. It is just something which is non-local. As a whole, it exists. As per my interest, I download something, isn't it? And that creates my own world. I open my own computer. I have created my own world by downloading a particular part of that information, which constitutes my personality, isn't it? It constitutes my personality. So jiva, the mind, my mind is actually not a very segregated, separate mind. There's only one mind as per samskaras, just the way when you go to the shop to buy a mobile phone, all the mobiles are same. The moment I buy it, I personalize it. My own contact details I upload there. My own files I upload there, whatever it may be. Then it becomes something, it has its own identity. They say this mind is the linga sharira. Linga means, this word linga is very interesting. Linga means sign. In general, our day-to-day life, the linga is translated as our gender. But actually it means sign. It has nothing to do with gender. Then why the gender is also has become synonymous with linga? Very interesting. When a small child is born, what gender it is, how will you know? That's the linga. Sign, nothing else. It's just that the genital organs are the sign. That's the thing first you will look at. Oh, it is a boy or a girl, isn't it? That's the linga, sign. Sign means that linga means sign. It doesn't mean any gender. So here also your mind is it indicates your personality. But there is only a common mind, of which my mind is just a part. So now you will understand this Hanuman's, these scriptures are wonderful. This thousands of years back, this has been spoken of. Deha buddhya dasoham, jiva buddhya tavangshaka. As a jiva, as a shukshma sharira, as a mind, I am just a part of one mind. And deha buddhya dasoham, why it is? If I take all the things which I am seeing as real, if I take the credentials of the senses as real, then you will find a wonderful thing. What's the thing? That this world is not just a pattern that we told. It's a design. Cloud is a pattern. By the wind, it is taking any form. What is a design? That is not just simple pattern. That some things, all the things you will find is following certain laws, principles in the entire universe. That I can land a soft landing, I can do a soft landing, a satellite can do a soft landing in the moon, on the Mars. How is it possible? The laws of gravitation is universal. If I know the law of gravitation sitting here, I can calculate and send the satellite exactly on the surface of the Mars, and it can do the soft landing there. So what it speaks of? That this universe is not that, as sometimes we think, is a mere accident. It cannot be. There are certain universal laws which is guiding the universe. So when you have a design, there must be a designer. The cloud in the sky has patterns. The wind is blowing and it is taking different shapes. That can speak of something random. But if something I find is repeating as the same thing, there's a design, then there must be a designer. And here the world cannot be an accident, because so many times we have discussed that if anything we consider as an accident, then accident cannot be sequential. There cannot be thousands of accidents just following one after another, just in a sequence to make a thing happen. There are so many things happening in this universe in sequence, in exact precision, to make life possible, to make this universe exist. So that speaks of a design. So when I take the credentials of the senses as real, then I find the world is very much, is following a particular rhythm. In Sanskrit, that is called rhythm. The ultimate reality finds expression as rhythm. And that speaks of someone, a conscious being, as the designer. So all the Dvaitavadins, that's why, those who takes the credentials of the senses as real, from Deha Buddhi, they think Dasoham. There is one who has designed. I am also a part of the design. There is someone who is the designer. So he is the master. I am the Lord. Atma Buddhya Tvamevaham. That you and I are the same. So when you go to that yourself, once you go to that non-dualistic realization, what happens? Then you find actually it is a consciousness. When it comes in association with the mind, then these varied things come. This universe, this prapancha, all the five senses have interacted with each other to create this. That prapancha comes when the consciousness comes in association with the mind. But from this, like a prism, when the white light is falling on the prism, then the question of spectrum comes. But if I'm on the other side of the prism, there's no spectrum. It is the white light and white light alone. And everything is a part of, is just one with it. Only when the spectrum forms, there's a question of part. There's a spectrum as a whole, where all the colors are just a part. But when I am on the other side of the prism, where the white light has not broken into the spectrums, it is just one. I am one with that. So, from all the 3 points you will find, actually it's just a various perspective of looking at that absolute reality. But from all the 3 perspectives, what is common? They believe in something eternal existence, which has nothing to do with the annihilation which we see in this world. Anything which is created has to be destroyed. From all the 3 points, when I go there, whether it is dualistic or whether it is Vishishtadvaita, that qualified non-dualism or non-dualism, whatever it may be, if I just consider from the standpoint of this phenomenal existence, they say this phenomenal existence, everything is going through this Shada Vikara. There, all the changes have stopped. There is no transformation. The Lord is, I am, both are eternal. And both are in eternal association. The one who believes in that absolute reality, for him also, I'm one with that absolute. So that takes him to that realm and helps him to transcend all these limitations of the worldly existence. If I'm always aware that nothing can annihilate me, and dualists also believe that, and Advaiti also believe that, Vishtadvaiti also believe that. Nothing can annihilate me. If it is a constant awareness, then total way we interact with the life changes. Everything becomes trivial. All the things we are giving so much of importance loses its importance. Why should I be bothered about something which is not going to stay with me eternally? If the life becomes a journey, you are not bothered with all the idiosyncrasies of other person. When I'm traveling in a train or a bus, there are so many things which I may see in the other person, I'm not bothered. Why? I know after just a matter of 1 hour or few hours, that person has his own way, I have my own way. So as if I take this life as a journey, if I'm always aware of my divine identity, then what happens is all the so-called happenings of the life become something very, very trivial to me. As we are never associated with our divine, we are not aware of our divine existence, all the problems become permanent, as if this is going to be with me through eternity. One who is aware of his spiritual dimension of his existence, they take everything as temporary, everything as local, nothing is all pervasive. And that gives that spiritual resilience, that helps them to have a broader vision and to build their life on that broadened vision. Isn't it? Your vision has got broadened and you start building your life with that broadened vision. Your total perspective changes. You become a total transformed person. And that's the thing. So if this all the 3 speaks of jnana, a type of knowledge. The knowledge based on your paradigm may appear to be different, but actually it is the same thing they're looking from the different paradigm. That example which we give, that the truth is not different, that if I take the photo of this house from 4 different directions, from the east I take a photo, from the west I take a photo, from the north, from the south, will any of this picture look same? No, it won't look same. They all will look different, but they are all the pictures of the same house. So it speaks of the paradigm. So that's why in this Sanskrit, the words are very important. In Sanskrit, we loosely translate all the so-called these philosophies. These are not philosophies actually. The Shara Darshana. Then we say 6 philosophies. This darshana is philosophy, but darshana is not philosophy. The word darshana means to look at. From which angle I am looking at. That makes all the things appear to be different, but they are actually relating to the same truth. Because of the limitation of my vision, because of my particular bias, I just relate to only a particular aspect of that absolute truth. But they're all relating to that absolute truth. Just that example of 5 blind men, even in the gospel we find that. It's actually a Buddhist allegory, which most probably Sri Ramakrishna have heard, and he's also saying it in the gospel, that 5 blind men, when they were asked to find the nature of an elephant, one of the blind men went and just touched the legs of the elephant, the limbs of the elephant. And he said this elephant is just like a pillar, a very strong pillar. Someone touched the stomach. Oh, it's like a cauldron. Someone touched the tail. It's like a rope. Someone touched the ears. It's like a willowing fan. So whatever they are touching, just so they are none of them are saying anything false. They're saying the truth, but just relating to a particular aspect of that reality. So that way all the opinions are varied because they cannot see the truth as a whole. And that's what darshana means. And that's what in this verse we find Bhagavan is accepting this fact that all this offers this oblation of knowledge to that same reality alone. And when they're offering this oblation of knowledge, the perspective from which they're offering, that makes the difference. Some think they're prithak, separate from the absolute reality, prithatvena. Some things they are one absolute. With that absolute, they are one with it, ekatvena. And some relate to this entire universe as the manifestation of the divine and take this varied form, this manifold form as the expression of divinity. So none of them are mistaken. They all are in the correct path. This universal aspect, and to explain this universal aspect of God, the divine, now from the 16th to the 19th verse, Bhagavan will be saying that he actually is this Vishwarupa. He is in each and every aspect and corner of this universe. He's existing in everything. And he's existing in all the practices. He's existing in all our attitudes. He's existing in all the things which I see in the universe. So in the 16th verse, what he's saying? That in the Vedic time, we find that the religion was almost synonymous with yajna, fire sacrifice. And these fire sacrifices are not same. In the Vedic time, the yajnas were of one type. And then again, we find the reference of yajnas even in the smritis. The Shrutis, there is a reference of yajna, even in the smritis. And these yajnas which are in the smritis, like in the Ramayana, in the Mahabharata, we find these yajnas are there. When Dasharatha was not having any children, he did that yajna, putreshti yajna. To have these children, he did this yajna. These yajnas, again, we don't find in the Vedas. There, the yajnas are different. And here, these yajnas are different. So some yajnas are from the Shruti and some from the Smriti. So accordingly, the yajnas which are from the Shrutis are called kratus. From the Smritis, there in general, in general, the word yajna refers to everything. Even kratu is also yajna. But to specify the yajnas of the Shrutis, in the next verse, we will find it is mentioned as kratu. And the smarta yajnas, the yajnas which are mentioned in the Smriti Shastra, they have been termed as yajnas. And Bhagavan is saying that he is the yajna. Aham kratur, aham yajna. This swadhaham, aham aushadham. Mantroham aham evajyam aham agnim aham hutam. So I am the Kratu. I am this Kratu, I am Yajna, I am Swadha. This Swadhaham aham Aushadham. I am the Aushadha, all the herbs which has medicinal value, Aushadha. I am Mantroham, I am the mantra. When you are doing the Yajna, all the mantras, I am the mantra. Aham evajyam, the offering, the ghee which you are offering, the clarified butter we are offering. I am that. And aham hutam. Now, this term's exact specific meaning, what it is, just as we say, this kratu means the Sruti Yagyas, the Yagyas which are in the Vedas. And then Yagya itself means the Smarta Yagya, which are in the Smriti Shastra. And then Swadha. Swadha is very interesting. You will find that when we are doing any Yagya, this all those who are from the Vedic background, Sanatana Dharma background, whatever, you will find that whenever Yagya is going on, the constant repetition will be there of one word, Swaha or Swadha. When I am offering, I say Swaha or Swadha. This any offering goes with these two words, Swaha or Swadha. So after the mantra, at last this word Swaha is. Swaha is actually pronounced with a sense of propitiating the divine. That that when we do our meditation, the last mantra which we chant is Priyatang Pundarikaksham Sarva Yagyeshwara Hari Tasmin Tushte Jagat Tushtam Prinite Pranitam Jagat. If you are pleased, the entire creation is at peace. Tasmin Tushte Jagat Tushtam. So when I'm offering oblation, I'm doing it with the motivation, with the intention to please you. Why? Because if you are pleased, there will be peace everywhere. So this idea of offering anything to please the one whom you are offering, so with your gratitude, with respect. So if I just, you will find that those who are not interested in all these rituals, the parents are most probably forcing their child, come, you have to do this, offer something. So he will just somehow do the offering like that. You have seen that. You have already experienced that. So Swaha actually indicates what? That do it with respect. If I just give someone just without showing respect, that gift has no value. Even a very insignificant thing, when you're giving it with respect, with love, that has value. The Swaha speaks of that expression of your respect, of your gratitude. You're offering something with respect, with that gratitude. So that sense of gratitude with which you are offering, I am that. Swaha, this Swadha. Swaha and Swadha are synonymous. So Swadhaham, Aham Aushadham. That all the medicinal values which you get from these herbs, in essence, that medicinal value, I am that. It's not something, just a poetry, it's a real fact. Just see, God, when has created this creation, he has made it sure that there should be means for its sustenance. This plants with a medicinal value. What it speaks of, that for the requirements, for all the requirements for my sustenance, there is something in nature which has been provided. I just have discovered. I haven't created it. It was there. Well, I have somehow found it out. So it was there. God has made that arrangement in the form of food, in the form of medicine. So he is there to sustain the creation. He is the medicinal value in the medicine. Aham Aushadham. Mantroham. So as we were saying, that when that Swaha we are saying, or Swadha we are saying, it is a mark, it is to just show respect. But before that, we are pronouncing something. At last, we are saying Swaha. That the entire thing which we are repeating, that is the mantra. What is mantra? Mananath Trayate iti mantra. That in Vedic tradition, you will find that when we are doing Homa, For 108 times with repeating the same mantra, we have to go on pouring the oblation, isn't it? Why this repetition? This repetition is because mananat trayate iti mantra. When I am repeating it again and again and contemplating on its meaning, then that idea gets totally, what is this, embedded in your mind. It creates a deep groove in your mind, and that starts transforming you. This, just say, even the mantras which we chant, just say that what we are saying, that Om, this Aing Sarva Deva Devi Swarupaya Sri Ramakrishnaya Swaha. That's what we are doing. If we are doing with sincerity, what is happening? Again and again, we are saying Sarva Deva Devi Swarupaya Sri Ramakrishnaya. I'm repeating it. This idea, if it really, I'm doing it with sincerity, what happens? A wonderful Catholicity is bound to find expression as a devotee of Ramakrishna. That he was an embodiment of all the devas and of all the devis, of all the various ideas of divinities. He is an embodiment of that, because he practiced all the religions in his life, and in his life we find a wonderful harmony. So why I'm repeating it? Mananath trayate iti mantra. That all the ideas of bigotry, fanaticism, which are there, that this tribal mentality is there in the entire world you will find at present. With all our development, with all our idea of globalization, suddenly we find that everything has now gone. That again, that tribal mentality we find everywhere. So this is something in our genes. Whenever there is a struggle, a little struggle for our survival, immediately that the tribal thing pounces out from within, which somehow, without any reason, I will think I'm superior to you. We don't go to the real problem. And all those distinctions, everything will again just come back. The brute within that pounces up again. You'll find it's again and again it happens. And for that, we have to this culture, the real truth. All these things which for which we struggle for our survival. At last, you will find the ego is the thing which is very much, this saturated, which is very much condensed. And from that, all those partitions are coming. And that's why we have to go to that absolute truth, the real truth, to the core of our being. We have to find that unity. And from there, that mantra takes me there, isn't it? Mananath trayate. Trayate means that which helps to liberate. Trayate means liberate. Mananath, how? By repeating it again and again. Keeping that absolute truth in my mind. When I go on repeating it, and then what happens? It helps me to get rid of all the limitations and relate to that absolute truth. So it is all these mantras which helps us to liberate. It is the God who is there in the sound form. That's what they say. Nada Brahma. He is in the sound form, present in those mantras. So this is a very interesting idea that even when I was studying the Bhakti Shastra, that this Bhakti, very in a simple way they explain. What they explain? That when I say water, now this word water is not one with the water. It is separate. Why? If I'm thirsty just by pronouncing water, my thirst is not going to be quenched, isn't it? In Bhakti Shastra, they don't go for too much of explanation. Very simple, they say. But why the name of God is one with God? As a devotee, I just take the name of God. Immediately I find that there's an inner peace, isn't it? I start feeling the presence of the divine. There's an inner peace, inner joy. Tremendous. A devotee has that subjective feeling that immediately he finds a tremendous bliss just by taking the name. So that's why the name is one with God. The water is not one with, the word water is not one with water, because if I'm thirsty, just by repeating water, my thirst is not quenched. But when I am in crisis, just by taking the name of the God, suddenly I find I am at peace with myself. So he's one with the God. That's why that name itself liberates me. Mananath Trayat iti mantra. So that's why Lord is saying, Mantroham. I am in that mantra. It is not something, a symbol. I am one with it. Mantroham. Aham eva ajya. Aham eva ajya. So, and then he will say, Aham agnim, aham hutam. So what is ajya, agni and huta? See, the homa, the fire has been lighted, and there is in a, what you say, a particular container, there is some amount of ghee. So that ghee is ajya. I take it. The same ghee, I take it, and when I'm offering in the fire, then it becomes hutam, ahutam. The same ajya is becoming ahuta, that which is being offered. It's the same thing. As long as it hasn't been offered, it is the ghee. When I take it and when I'm offering, that becomes the offering. When I am offering, in the fire. So now they're saying, actually, it is the Lord who is the fire. He is the one who is the ajya, the ghee. And when you are offering it, that act of offering, that is also the Lord and Lord alone. So he is in each and every act of the worshipper. He is one with the entire universe. So these ideas are very important. Well, you know why? You will find that Francis Bacon, he was a very, have you heard this? We all have heard this word, this knowledge is power. We have all heard. Here's a quotation from Francis Bacon, knowledge is power. We think it's a very good quotation, but the real idea with which Francis Bacon quoted it, he has written this word, is not that, something ennobling. What his idea was, there's a world has its secrets. It hides its secrets, all the treasures it's hiding. The allegory which Francis Bacon gave is, he's like a very wealthy widow. She is very wealthy, but she is not in any way willing to share her riches with others. If you have to get the riches, you have to force out. And what is that force? That is knowledge. There is this this mineral oils, and it is hidden on the earth. Use your knowledge. You can force it out. Earth is not going to give it to you. All the resources the earth has, with your knowledge, you can force out from that. So the idea is that I have to exploit to really get all these material benefits. But just contrasted to that, you just find this idea, everything is Brahman. When I am trying to loot the lady, thinking her to be helpless, I forget my roots are actually there. Most probably she is my mother. That I have forgotten. So here in the Vedic tradition, we find that the roots have never been forgotten. It is the same divine which is finding expression everywhere. So we relate to the creation through reverence, through the idea of yajna, pancha yajna, that yes, at each and every moment, I have to take from the nature. Am I returning it back in the form of yajna? That's the idea of the pancha yajna. So this was the idea. From where it came? From the idea of this unitary existence. The same reality is finding expression everywhere. Even in the 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, we have already studied that famous sloka, the verse, which we chant every day while before taking our food. What is that? Brahmarpanam Brahmahavi, Brahmagno Brahmanahutam, Brahmaivatena Gantavyam, Brahma Karma Samadhina. The same meaning. Is the same reality which is finding expression as this in each and every act of the universe. So do it in the sense of whatever you're doing, do it with a sense of worship, with a sense of reverence, not with a sense of exploitation or extraction. By knowing the interbeing of that unitary experience, do it with reverence. And that's the idea we find here, aham kratur, aham yajna, Swadhaham aham aushadham mantroham aham evajyam aham agni aham hutam. So then in this, what is the next verse, what he's saying in the 17th verse, Pitaham Pitahamasya Jagato Mata Dhata Pitamaha Vedyam Pavitram Onkaram Rik Sama Yajurevacha. So just these verses sometimes we may find that we cannot relate, but we have to take ourselves to that Vedic society, where in that society what was there? There's people after their what you say, the day-to-day occupation, as per their varna, that as we have various occupations. In those days, there was no internet. There was no others, all this media for our entertainment. So these medias have what has made us very much segregated. My work is over, I come back, but I am with this, my mobile or with in front of the screen. I have no need for the world. But in those days, is this laser means what? The laser means we all will be together. Even in the Indian villages, even in our childhood, we saw that yajnas were not there. Even in Fiji, what to speak of in my childhood, even a few years back in 2012, when I was in Fiji, every day evening, every day, there's some in the loudspeaker, some Ram Katha is going on. It goes on till night 12:30, it will go on. This village, in these small villages in Fiji, those are staying, they all migrated from India. So they work hard throughout the day. When they're coming back at home, it's almost their daily practice. That's their entertainment. That's their life. They all will be just having a congregation where someone will be there, is a Kathak. He will be just reciting the Ram Katha and all will be just sitting around him. So now if you take that type of soti, in the Vedic time also it's that. These yajnas were there. There was a place of congregation, relating to the divine, all coming together in a community service, relating to the the divine through all those chantings, through all those yajnas. So their entire life was actually encircled, was permeated by these practices alone. And so whenever they're describing their life, this is the things they will describe. So that's what we find here. Pitahamasya Jagata. That he is the father, that I am the father of this world. Mata Dhata Pitamaha. I am the father, I am the mother. Dhata means I am the sustainer. Pitamaha, I am the grandfather, I am the grandsire. Vedyam Pavitram Onkaram. That in the Vedas, this Onkara, this Pranavadhvani, is the thing which is the essence of the Vedas. So I am that Onkara. And then Rik, Sham, all the various divisions of this Vedas, Rik, Sham, Yaju, all of those are nothing but me and me alone. So what actually is indicating Pita? It's Pita, Mata. So whenever you are creating something, there are two things as the cause. There are two causes out there. One is called the efficient cause and another is the material cause. What is this efficient cause and material cause? So with an example, let us try to understand. Otherwise, these words will just remain technical words. With an example, is that when a potter is making a pot, the potter himself is the efficient cause. He is the one who has in his mind what he is going to make. But can he make without the material? If the clay is not there, with all those ideas, can he make the clay? No. So he needs something some material thing. So any creation in this world, you will find these two things are there. An efficient cause, the one who is planning, and the material cause, the thing with which he is making. The efficient cause and the material cause. So here also, Pita indicates what? That God is saying, I am the efficient cause. Mata, I am the material cause. So this indicates again, so in the scriptures, this non-duality will come again and again, this idea will come. That if That even in the Bible, they say that the God has created this universe out of nothing. Out of nothing, they have created. Because the moment you say there was something apart from the God, then what happens? God has to depend on that, isn't it? So he is no more independent. So is these ideas then something we say is how can something be created from nothing? So these are actually the limitations of the word. They are also relating to the same truth, but with a word you cannot express. That's why it's being said that God has created this universe out of nothing. Because the moment you say he has created the world out from something, then God existence becomes dependent on that. He's no more independent. So here, what they're saying, almost the same. So very interesting that sometimes it becomes very difficult to understand that these ideas. So even the one from the Christian background has to interpret that God has created out of nothing. So they say very nicely nowadays what they interpret, that after all, the things which you're seeing is it doesn't exist. Everything is, you will also say everything is spirit, consciousness. So God as a consciousness has brought out everything from consciousness. So there was no thing, actually, there was no thing. So that way they will explain. So, but the idea is same. Like God has created from nothing means from no thing. That's what they're saying. So here also the same idea. It is that he is the material cause, he is the efficient cause. In our scriptures, they give a nice example of Urnanavi, the spider. When the spider is, what you say, this creating its this this webcom, this web is creating its, it is weaving its web. From where it is coming? From within. Yatha Urnanabi, just like a spider. In the Mundaka Upanishad, it starts with that he is the material cause, he is the efficient cause. So that's how he is mentioning, he is the Pita, he is the Mata. He is the Dhata, the sustainer. How is sustaining the universe? Through the laws, the rhythm. If you do some action in the moral world, all these laws are there, just in like the physical laws, like the gravitation, like magnetism. Similarly, these moral laws are there, which we cannot break. For certain actions, certain result, we have to accrue. And that's through all those fixed laws, he is sustaining the universe. So that's why he's saying, I am the rhythm, I am the Satyam, as well I am the rhythm. He is the sustainer. He's the grandsire. This is the Pitamaha, the grandfather. What it means? Again, the same, that anything, whatever gross I am seeing, beyond that, something subtle is there, isn't it? The subtle, which is not manifested, is finding expression as the gross. So I am the creator of the subtle, which in turn is the creator of the gross. So I am the one who is the grandfather that way. So I am the one that in our scriptures they say that Tanmatra and then Panchabhuta is all this world which is made of this conglomeration of the five senses. If I go to the mind, it is all piecemeal perceptions, isn't it? They all come together to give this idea of this entire universe. So I am the subtle, I am the gross. So I will just try to explain this a bit, because it's always good to go to the root to explain that subtle and gross. It doesn't mean the external subtle and gross. It speaks something psychological. That, you're very interesting that when I'm perceiving anything, is the thing perceived as a whole in the mind? No. Very interesting. When I'm seeing the flower, even as in the present, with all the development in our science, in our neurology, you will find very interesting thing. The color is perceived in the color perception center. And if I am having the fragrance of the flower, the fragrance is perceived in some another center, different center, this fragrance perception center. Not only that, even what I'm seeing, that all the things are not perceived in the same center. The shape of the flower is perceived in a different center. The color in a different center. Its texture, when I touch it, in a different center. And all this synthesized together to give me a feeling that this is an entire flower, whole flower. But generally, for a common person, what he will think? The whole flower is perceived by the mind as a whole. No, it's all piecemeal perceptions. To understand that, let us take the example of a movie theater. When I am watching the movie in a movie theater, very interesting. The sound is coming from somewhere else. There are sound boxes. In the screen, what I see is just silent pictures. Someone is talking to someone, all the lips are moving. There is no sound there. But do I feel that this character is not speaking? I feel the character is speaking. Why? Because here in the screen, the lips are moving. From the sound box, the sound are coming. These two are synthesized in the mind to give me a feeling this character is speaking, isn't it? That's how our perceptions are happening. But actually, all the perceptions are piecemeal perceptions. All are separate. They all come together to make the perception possible. So all those piecemeal perceptions are subtle. They are something subtle. That in our mind, all those piecemeal perceptions are happening, they're all subtle. When they come together, then the prapancha, this all the five mixed together to give me the feeling of the whole. So God, what he's saying, that when I find expression as the mind, I am already there as all the informations, but they're all subtle. They don't find, I am not aware of them. Whenever there is a stimuli, some external world interacts with the mind, a few of those informations come together and manifests in the mind to give you the idea, oh, this is this is that. That is the gross. So I am actually behind the subtle, which all conglomerates to form the gross. I'm behind that. So I'm like the grandfather. I'm the one who has created this mind with all the subtle tendencies. And these subtle tendencies again come to create this gross. I am behind that. So I am the grandfather. Vedyam. And then what he's saying? Vedyam Pavitram Omkara Riksam. And all these varied things which I'm saying, from where it came? From that absolute reality which is beyond all differentiation. So Om represents that, the undifferentiated reality from which this entire world which is differentiated has came. And that Omkara is the thing which is the essence of the Veda. Why? Because it's speaking of that undifferentiated reality, which I nomenclature, which I always try to understand it with the word Om. Om is the notation of that absolute undifferentiated reality, of which the entire Veda is speaking of. So I am that absolute, which is been spoken of as Omkara. And then that Omkara itself again is finding expression as this universe, as this differentiated reality, which has been spoken of in the Vedas. Vedas just doesn't mean the books. Veda in general means encyclopedia. It's knowledge. That's the word Veda came from vid dhatu. Vid means to know. And the book from where I can know, which helps me to know. That's the Vedas. So all the knowledge came from that absolute reality, isn't it? So that's the ultimate reality. That's even in Mundaka Upanishad we find. What is that? Paravidya tat aksharam adhigamyate, which takes us to that akshara, that ultimate reality from which all other knowledge has come. So I am all those Vedas. So that's how the entire gamut of existence is being indicated as the Lord and Lord alone. Why he is doing this? These ideas will continue till the 19th verse. So that we can divinize the entire existence. That whatever will be our mode of worship, that when I am looking at the world, I am looking at the Vishwato Mukha, that the Lord finding expression to his various aspects. And that way, when you divinize the world, your nature changes. I will give a simple example. Durga Puja is coming. This Durga Puja is coming. And we don't understand the rituals. The rituals goes on and others goes on socializing. That's what Durga Puja is at present. But if you really are interested about the rituals, these rituals are having a wonderful meaning. When they do the snana of Mother Durga, there are many ingredients involved. The waters of all the oceans, all sorts of grains they will use to scrub the mother. That's the grains are used. Soils will be used, and that soil is also not one soil. In the forest, the boar has the habit of this digging the soil with their this the horn. They will just they will dig the soil. That soil you have to use. That's one. Another soil, where the so-called the prostitutes say the staying and so their courtyard. You have to go and collect the soil from there, and you find why all these meaningless practices. It's a very interesting thing that throughout the year you have collected all those things. With that, you are worshipping the mother. And just as at your home, it happens. You will find that your child has gone to the school. You enter your child's room. Whatever you see, that reminds of your child. The small kerchief somewhere is lying that he has just simply thrown it. That also reminds of your child. Most probably the toys, the books, everything reminds you of something. The thing, when you, all the things of your beloved reminds you of your beloved. So all these things I have used for the worship. These are the things I use in my day-to-day life. I like some of them, I hate some of them. Some of the things I despise. But I've used all of them for the worship of the mother. Now when I come out, the world gets transmuted. It's total change. In everything now I have an association with the divine. The question of hatred doesn't come. Previously, when I was going by the side of a house of an ill-reputed lady, an ill-famed lady, because of her profession, I had a sense of hatred. Now, devotion developed. Oh, that soil is used for the worship of the divine. We never think this thing sincerely. If we can think it sincerely, really, it brings a real transformation. You know that in the life of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was just passing by the side of one village, and someone told the clay of this soil is used to prepare the coal. The soil has a particular characteristic. When you prepare the body of the drum, it gives a very resonating sound because that soil has a particular characteristic. So coal is that drum for kirtana. Just hearing that, immediately Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became unconscious. Means actually he was in samadhi, deep samadhi. So the others were surprised at what happened. Just we said that this soul is for Mahaprabhu. What happened? Khol, kirtan of what? Krishna. And immediately is taken this association. Khola, kirtana, Krishna, samadhi. So this association is a wonderful thing. So all these slokas are mantras. Why they are mantras? It helps us to associate each and every object with the divine. And if I can really do that, this total life gets transformed. Just see that for that person, that even the soil of an ill-famed person, that starts bringing devotion. So the hatred falls off, enemy falls, and you will be you will protect the nature naturally. Because if I have to collect the soil which has been plowed by the boar, it has used its claws or whatever it may be, that soil, so that animal has to be there. It has to be protected, isn't it? It has to be preserved. So all the herbs, many says that that kola bow, that the plantain tree which is kept by the side of Ganesha, there is a wife of. It's not the wife of Ganesha. It's very interesting. It's actually Ganesha in the North Indian tradition is a bachelor. In the south, of course, they say that Siddhi and this is a wife, Riddhi and Siddhi. But actually, he is a bachelor. That's a very nice story. That the mother, there again, these ideas, the divinity resides in everything, changes us. How? That Ganesha, as a small child, one day, the small children sometimes playfully will be sometimes, there's torturing the animals also because they are yet to develop that idea. So one day, seeing a cat with a stick, he was just simply beating that cat. And the cat somehow managed to escape. And a small child, Ganesha, was just after the cat, gave a few blows, and the cat escaped. And then when Ganesha went to Parvati's mother, he found his mother's body is full of red scars. And Ganesha started crying that how come that you have got all those scars? Who have hit you? Who have bitten you? And they said, it's you. Well, I know, how come? Well, don't you know that I exist in each and every being? So when you were beating that cat, it actually hurt me. And after hearing that, what happened? Ganesha thought, oh, my mother resides in everyone. So how can I marry? I cannot marry. And that's how he's a bachelor. So these are the wonderful stories. So let's just see how just this idea can transform your life. So that's the thing for which these verses we will be going through. So this the remaining verses we will again continue. As today we went to the discussion of Durga Puja, there is really the puja is coming near. So the next class will be after Durga Puja. I think this next 5th of October. So because we have this Navaratri and other celebrations, this next Sunday, Navaratri celebration is starting. And it will be the following Sunday also, then it will be within the Navaratri. And then our classes will start after the 2 weeks, isn't it? That's 2 weeks. So on the 5th of October, we will be again meeting here to continue with the study of Bhagavad Gita. So with this, we stop our discussion today. Thank you all. Namaskar.